played well in the PSL back in those days because there wasn't enough money in the ecosystem of the league to pay players good salaries. One of the challenges we have now, from a SAFA perspective, not a league perspective, from a SAFA perspective, is that in fact, ironically, and this is just my own opinion, ironically, the very success of our league has, I think, had a negative impact on Bafana Bafana. Because unlike whenever we play matches across the continent in qualifying, we play Cape Verde Islands. You know, we've got whatever 500,000 total population or less. But when you look at their players, where they're all playing in Portugal or in Spain or Italy. They're playing in these top competitive global leagues. And you look at Bafana Bafana, and 95% of the players are playing in the PSL. Now, for the PSL, that's fantastic because you're getting, you know, there's a wonderful thing to say that we've got our Bafana players playing in the local league. And the reason they can do that is that the league is so successful that they can pay these players really good salaries. In fact, they compete with the sort of second tier salaries that players are earning if they're playing in Europe. So, but for the downside for the national team, I believe, and it's my opinion, is that there's not enough of a burning economic incentive for our very good players to go and make a career in the international leagues. And what's that downside? That downside is that they're not playing week in and week out against the world's best players. And, you know, unlike if you take your Nigerian national team, you know, your players, I don't know, probably at least 80% of your players, if not more, are playing in the top leagues around the world, whether it's the Premier League or La Liga or Serie A, whichever it might be. So there's a ironic downside from a SAFA perspective, but it's a very big upside from the league's perspective, and that's part of, you know, I think our ongoing challenges and developments that we have to face in this country.
I'd like to have your problem, actually, if you no, it's in truth. I think I think the opposite is the case in Nigeria, right? Where our best players don't even play in the league at all. You know, before they have an opportunity to play in our league, they've already been, you know, shipped overseas to go and play, you know. And so what you then have is a situation where, you know, the league is then left with the rest, the best of the rest. And I think that, you know, when you look at it from the commercial perspective, you know, a lot of people playing in the PSL, earning a lot of money in South Africa is good for your economy as well. So I guess that in every situation we have to look at the pros and cons, I suppose. But given the state of Nigerian football right now, I think I'd rather have your problem. Robin, we're going to go on a very short break, and when we return, this time we're going to focus more on the MPFL. Welcome back to Sports Business with Orufo Ezaga. You're watching Plus TV Africa, and we're reaching you live from our studios in Lagos. We've been having a very engrossing time with Dr. Robin Peterson, a former CEO of the South African Football Association, as well as the South African Premier Soccer League, the PSL. Doc, okay, so welcome back. We're going to look at a few moments in the MPFL where, you know, we see some really good quality football, and we're still trying to get the fans to hop on the train and, you know, to generate the sort of support that the league needs for us to attract the corporate sponsors and the like. So if we look at that, we'll come back and then we'll talk a bit more about what we need to do in the MPFL.
Here's Uche. Now passing behind the defense. It's brilliant! What a fantastic goal!
Minutes on the clock. Remo Stars now. Frank Marwena chesting the ball beautifully. Finding Alex Oyowa to his left hand side. Back now to Frank Marwena. Tibulis. Alex Oyowa. Oyowa again! Remo Stars take the lead inside 5 minutes of the second 45. And what more than they deserve of all of their brilliant football. The Sky Blue Stars have indeed conjured up a way to break down this resilient defensive half of Rangers International. Remo Stars to take the lead. It's a brilliant give and go from the Sky Blue Stars. Alex Oyowa would celebrate with what would be his very first ever goal in the Sky Blue Stars colour. Just one beyond Lucky Abdullahi.
The league is beginning to be a bit more interesting, and to be fair, the interest of fans is beginning to, you know, to rise. We now have the television on. We now have the league matches, most of the league matches on television, and we have a streaming platform that also streams the most matches. All right, so the opportunity is there, but we still don't have the deal for the MPFL is still a long shot from what probably your first ever television deal was in South Africa. It's still very far. You know, just before I came to the studio, I did something of a table of what you guys earn in South Africa, what the players earn in South Africa, and what the players earn in Nigeria. It is as if we belong to different worlds entirely. And this is the African continent. Yeah, that's the slide there. You know, I don't know how far this is true, but I got this from the Gauteng website, where the top earner in South Africa is earning 106 million naira a month. And the top earner in Nigeria is earning just 1.3 million naira a month. So that's where, so you see why I say to you, Robin, that I would rather have your problem, where, you know, the best players choose to play now in Nigeria rather than just jump overseas at the slightest opportunity. So what do you think what do you think we have to do now, Robin? How do you think we can attract the money into our leagues?
So let me go back and just comment on what you've said. And so I think the challenge is that if your players are playing in the top 3 or 4 leagues in the world, that's great for your national team. Yeah. Your challenge, I see it, and I remember doing the study with my partner in SPN Africa, Emeka Inyadike. Okay. And we were looking at the number of Nigerian players playing in leagues across the world, you know, from Afghanistan to Hungary to wherever, to South Africa. And there were hundreds. So you're not just losing your top tier, you're losing your second, third, and fourth tier.
Absolutely.
Of players. So that's a really big challenge. And you know, as I understand it, and correct me if I'm wrong, the MPFL is not structured like the PSL in the sense that the clubs don't run the league. Yeah. It's run by the FA. I could be wrong, but that's the information that I think I have. And I'll go back to
Robin, 1 second. The MPFL is run by an MPFL board. It's not, yeah, and it is it's run by an MPFL board, and then they have a strategic partner that's an investment banking firm in Nigeria, yeah. And then there's the NFF, which it's a bit of a, you know, of a complex structure. There's the NFF, which is the football federation. There's the league body that oversees the league that is appointed by the NFF. And then there's the strategic partner, that's the investment banking firm. So that's what it is like at the moment.
So obviously in South Africa, as I mentioned before, the PSL, like they did in England when the Premier League broke away effectively from the control of the Football Association and set themselves up, South Africa worked slightly differently because during apartheid, during our terrible years of apartheid, we were banned from FIFA. So there was effectively no football association. There was a very small amateur body. So the league was the big dog in town because it just ran everything. So when SAFA was formed, the league still kept its own independence. It didn't need to sort of break away as the English Premier League did when they had their, in a sense, a palace coup against the Football Association and set themselves up independently. Now, I think there are pros and cons to both. So I'm not, but here's the thing: the PSL is owned and run by the clubs. So if you are a club in the Premier Soccer League and there are representatives, clubs from the First Division, you have a seat on the Board of Governors. There's also obviously an executive committee. That's a big difference from when I was there and what they have now, and I think it was a very, very wise governance decision that they took. When I was there, they had an independent chairperson and the CEO, and then the rest of the governance structure was the Board of Governors, and that meant every club, so there were in those days 18 clubs, every club had its member on the Board of Governors, and there were 2 representatives from the First Division. And they governed, they employed the CEO, they ran the league. So when decisions were made about how does the sponsorship money get spent, it was there. They all had access to that, and they made the decisions about how that money would be spent. It wasn't controlled by another body who would then, it was determined by the clubs themselves. So effectively it made for a difficult governance as a CEO because clubs are wanting one to look after their own interests, but they also recognized that without a strong league, their own interests would be minimized. So that was an important thing, that the clubs effectively have a very strong say or run the governance structure of the league. The big change that happened after I left, we started the process, we had some workshops when I was CEO, but it kicked in a few years later, was they set up an executive committee, and in fact, the clubs then made the decision that they would appoint Dr. Khoza as the chair. Now that was a very difficult and controversial decision because it's very rare that you have a club owner who is also the chair of the league. And of course it can lead to all kinds of challenges because there could be all kinds of ways in which that team gets favored. What was interesting was that the clubs decided among themselves that they would want to have Dr. Khoza to become the chair, and he's done an incredible job to build the brand of the league. And I think the key to that is that he was a man and still is a man who always, yes, he was a club owner and he did look after his own club very well, but he always saw that the league itself must come first, because without a successful league, there would not be a successful club. So what that meant is that as the money comes in, whether it's from broadcast rights, whether it's from sponsorship rights, the clubs themselves determined how that money gets spent and split. And that's really, I think, has enabled them to get a much bigger share of the pie than you will get in other circumstances. So that was important from the governance point of view. I think that's a key part.
Okay.
The key difference.
Okay. Here again, here the clubs are powerful in the structure that we have today, but it's not that they run, they take all the decisions, but they're a very strong block in the decision making process. Okay, so looking at the MPFL, and looking at how we have to struggle for support in the face of the overwhelming popularity of the European leagues. And it's not just Nigeria, it's Sub-Saharan Africa, much of Sub-Saharan Africa. How do we win our fans back? Because we don't have anywhere near this kind of resources that they have in Europe, So what do we do, essentially, to be able to let fans in Africa know that, guys, you've got to support your clubs, because that's the only route to commercial success. And even if the clubs, or even if the league managers are not doing a good job, then maybe the fight to have is how do we get these guys out and get competent managers, as opposed to just abandoning your league more or less?
Yeah, I think that the structure of governance must not only be a governance for the league, it's got to be how the clubs are governed. And there's two parts of that. There's the club licensing. Let's call it a tool, okay, for club governance and development. If FIFA has set in place this whole club licensing structure, and if that club licensing structure is properly applied and implemented and monitored, you are able to then set standards for your coaches, set standards for teams, how they are governed, set standards for teams, how they have development structures in place, how they have women's football in place, etc., etc. In order to play in a league at certain levels, you have to have certain things in place. Now, it's quite a long process to implement a club governance structure fully. But you have to start somewhere and agree amongst the teams what are the minimum things that we need to ensure in conversation with the Football Association. How do we do that? How are the clubs governed there? Are they run like businesses? Are they run professionally, or are they just a pet project of someone? The most successful clubs in South Africa have gradually professionalized. There always used to be the claim back in my day that some of the clubs were run out of the trunk of a car. And that was true to a point. The club owner, who probably was a wealthy businessman in his own right, funded the team, funded the club, and ran it back, ran it out of his car. Now that's changed. That doesn't exist in South Africa anymore. But even back in my time, that certainly did exist with some of the clubs. So I think the need to have consultancy services that the league offers to clubs, marketing support that the league offers to clubs, governance things that they insist upon. All of those things, I think you need to build an environment at a league level, supported by the Football Association, that provides a gradual professionalizing and governance of clubs, so that they can, that sponsors then are confident to put money into. Clubs, even in South Africa, some clubs battle to get sponsors. That's always been a challenge. But most of the clubs in the PSL now have got their own jersey sponsor or club sponsor. But they will only have that if they run professionally. If they're not run professionally, they're not going to get a sponsor. So maybe the league has to be looking at how does it support its clubs through consultancy services, through marketing services. There are massive opportunities that didn't exist back in my time there, which I alluded to, and that's the whole power now of your different forms of low-cost, high-value content that clubs, players, teams can start to produce through social media, through mobile phones, and so on, to start to build a media strategy that will attract and keep fans by telling the conversation, telling the stories, getting those out there. Yeah. And I think that if I were in Nigeria, I know Nigeria's got a massive population. The young people are on their mobile phones the whole time. How are the clubs tapping into those ways of getting their stories out, of building a local fan presence, of building local community support, and mobilizing that through social media and other forms like that?
Okay. Dr. Robin, it's been very nice having you on the program. If you have a last word, is there something, have you ever worked in Nigeria? Is there anything that will bring you here to come and do any work with, say, the league, for instance, or any other league in the country? Very quickly, so that we'll wrap up the program.
I have worked in Nigeria, but in a different sector altogether. In between my time at the PSL and my time in SAFA, I actually ran a health products business, and we set one up. And I'm busy working with a partner now in Nigeria in another business where we're bringing South African wines into the Nigerian market. But I would love to be able to, I have a great partner, Emeka Enyadike, who of course is a legend in Nigerian football from an administration and a media point of view. And I think that mobilizing the insights of, I'd love to help, if there's an opportunity, share my wisdom. I love Nigeria, I love Nigerian people, and I think you're a market that is so incredibly powerful. It's a shame that the league is not as successful as I think it could and should be.
Okay, this is just the beginning of our engagement. I'll be hoping that we can get you back on this program at some other point in the future to say more of what I know you still have to say about, not just the Nigerian league, the PSL, and the leagues across the sub-Saharan African region. Thanks for honoring the invitation. It's been a very engaging time, and wish you the best for the rest of the day. And
Thank you.
Yeah. And so to you viewers, thanks for tuning in. It's Happy Independence Day, Nigeria. It's the 64th independence, and we hope to build on from here. It's not just problems. Even you watching me now can do something about, making Nigeria a better country going into the future. Until we meet again next week, this is me, Rufo Ezaga, saying, be productive, be good, and stay safe.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent. On the barbing, I send my children to school.
A consultative engagement.
No any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
Hydration is when you have enough water content in your body, then you're hydrated. And what is dehydration? Dehydration is the opposite of hydration. That's lack of water. And a lot of people are suffering from dehydration. Why are they suffering from dehydration? A lot of people find it difficult to drink water. It's healthy for you to get up in the morning and drink water, a glass of water. Cleanses your system. It makes you start on a good mood. It's when you take enough water, your skin equally glows. Your mood is well balanced. You're not feeling tired. Because when you are dehydrated, you tend to feel tired. You tend to feel sick because your body is toxic. You understand? So your body is toxic, and things that are not supposed to be in your body are being retained in your body instead of it being flushed out. When you are properly hydrated, then you pee, you go to the toilet, you urinate, you sweat well, which is very, very healthy. In doing that, the excess things you do not require, the toxins you do not require are passed out from the body. So it makes you healthy. Watermelon is good. Watermelon has a lot of water. Pineapple is good. You know, you can take this fruit like cucumber. If you okay, let me just give you these little tips. You can do your mix your cucumber, blend your cucumber with watermelon, blend it with a bit of beetroot, add a bit of ginger to it. It will keep you very, very energized. It will keep you alert when you have your then add apple to it, because definitely apple is going to sweeten it up, but not too much. So you can add apple to it, but it's going to keep you energized for the day. Then another combination, like I said, is an addition to another combination that can give you enough energy for the day. You can have your kale, you can have a bit of pineapple, you can have a bit of, so when I say a bit, it is now for you to come to us and ask us what the bit is. But so you have your banana, you have your kale, you have your pineapple, you can add a bit of chai seed to it. Blend is energy giving. Kale on its own is powerful. Is a power bank of veggies. Then banana is another. So you have your banana there, you have your pineapple, you have your kale, you have your chai seed. If you want, you can add a bit of ginger to it, depending on. But you're beautiful with that. Then with water, you're fine. Well, we need to have fruit in our life, because we don't want to go to the hospital. They help fight, they help combat diseases in the body. So you derive vitamins from fruits. Your body absorbs your food properly when you eat well. When you take in fruits, your body metabolizes the food you eat. You're not constipated while you eat. Your body metabolizes your food properly. When you take enough fruit, you have a very glowing skin. When you take fruits, you have vitamins, it helps aging. Some of us that are tending towards, and we don't want to look old, take enough fruits. You'll be fine. Your face, your skin, everything will glow. You have to find out what that child likes. All children are not the same, so you need to know what that child likes. When you find out what the child likes, then you start mixing fruit together. Most children, not all of them anyway, they have sweet tooth. So it could be a combination of banana with some other things, But the first thing is to find out what the child likes. When you get what the child likes, then day in, day out, you introduce it into their meals. You can make it into smoothies. You can make it into juice for them, because it's easier to take, when you make juices or you make smoothies, it's easier for them to take a whole lot of nutrients into their body within a short time. So I would talk from experience. If I want to, cucumber for example, not everybody likes cucumber because cucumber is tasteless. But for you to enjoy cucumber, cucumber has high water content and is really good for the body. But for you to enjoy cucumber, you can combine your cucumber with other fruits that you love to eat. Take for example, some people like pineapple, some people like apple. Combine it with the fruit you enjoy, then you can make it into probably juice. You can juice it, you can make smoothies of it. You can make your salad interesting. When I say interesting, make your veggies, add some food to it. Add your chicken and all that, then add some food to it. Most fruit gives your normal vitamins. So I'm going to start with apple. Apple will help you with your digestion. The beetroot will help you with metabolism. Citrus fruits, lemon for example, cleanses your system.
Sports betting has been around for a long time, even if data of the first bet seems untraceable. We can think of the Greeks, inventors of the Olympic Games, where it was not uncommon for spectators to bet among themselves on the winners. Over the years, pool staking and betting has been the traditional way of gambling in Nigeria. Recently, the emergence of sports betting has increased due to the various betting websites that have become famous. Due to this latest development, sports fanatics now take their interest in sports to a greater level, having realized the financial benefits that could be gained from predicting match scores. Unfortunately, addiction sets in along the line when one has no self-control, and it then leads them to the dark tunnel of gambling. This is Sam, a 35-year-old man who has been through the ups and downs in the virtual world of sports. He loves to forecast games and put his money where his mouth is. Along the line, his love for forecasting and betting led him into the dark side of addiction.
It all started 2015. Okay, I finished service 2013. So between that time I was job hunting, and I've been a fan of sports growing up right from childhood. But I have a neighbor that walked up to me that few weeks that I didn't play. All I do was just to make friends, observe how things work. So I was there, I see people placing bets. So I started asking questions. I even asked the cashiers that, okay, if I pick this, But I remember vividly then, there were limited market options then, unlike now that we have vast majority of market options. Like I said, I don't have what I'm doing, so my income is so limited. All I do is when I started playing, I use my pocket money to place bets. So then to stake, the minimum stake is 100 naira, so I can still feel like, hey, the money I used to buy recharge cards and call friends, why can't I use it to place bets? So that's how it all started. And then it was fun. Some places I would have just one game that would make it a lost bet. I'll put the game, I'll be like, oh, I'm so close. And that will be like, you can't go further, you can try more. So it goes on and on like that. I could remember vividly my first win was a 5,000 naira with 100 naira.
Oh, wow.
I got motivated, yes. So the 5,000 then was like a gold, like, wow, this is cool business. With 100 naira, the multiple interests that comes or that is accrued to it, I was like, wow, this is good business. So I started going deep. And over time, I started looking into the virtual. When you walk into the shops, you see a lot. So it's like, the place is more like, maybe like, let me just say, like a theater where you just see all different kind of. You see people that walk in, say this thing has destroyed my life. You see people that say, wow, I don't chop. So you have different kind of things that motivate you. I remember then there was a day a guy walked in and his first game, he placed bet on the virtual, that football virtual, and his first game with 100 naira, he won 35,000. So that's really intrigued me. I was like, what exactly did he play? How did he know that all these games will come true? So he said he has been studying it. We became friends, and over time, I started playing the virtual too.
From all the games, he got more interested in a virtual game called Color Color.
It's a game of numbers. So you predict the numbers that will be displayed after some rounds of events. So, and we have different colors, but my interest is always on the numbers because if I predict 2 numbers to appear out of 6 possible outcomes, I would, with 100 naira, win 6,005.
Really?
So I always aim higher because I just feel if I use 100 naira to win, if I play the color, I'll win 300. So I will be like, this 300, they can take it back anytime. But there's this thing that punters always believe in, that if I can win a huge amount of money, even before they will take it back, I can leave. So I always aim high. So if I win such kind of amount, I won't stay. I would go, then still come back the other day. But in the long run, if you come back another day, it's just like you're just delaying when they will get the money back.
Many can attest to the money-draining virtual games.
You see that virtual, I will not tell you the lie. The truth about it is that virtual is a killing machine. If you want to die, go there. You will die easily. If you have 50,000 in your pocket, in the next 5 hours, if you don't take time, you will borrow money out of that place. That one is not game. That one's like, it's dice, like 2 people playing dice or 4 people playing dice. That one is a killing machine. I don't go there. Except you just have money you want to waste. You go there, go and waste it. Money you don't budget for. But if you want to make something in life, I prefer to book game and wait for the results after 90 minutes.
When Sam places bets, he spends about 2,000 naira, but it increased when he started working for a bet company.
In a month, let me just approach it. In a month, I can spend like 2,000, 3,000, but over time, when I started working, I spend more than that. So let me just say, when I started in the year 2015, I just spent 2,000, 3,000 to place bets in a month.
Wow.
When I started working, the mentality of playing bets with 100 naira left. I was like, if I would choose, the idea behind it is, I was like, if I could choose 20 games, and 19 of it I could predict correctly, just one of it got spoiled. So why stress myself with 100 naira? So why not pitch something lesser and stick with a huge amount of money?
Wow.
So I started experimenting that. When I started, it was working fine. I could play a single bet with 5,000, place a single bet with 2,000.
Reality dawns on Sam when he lost 200,000 naira on a single bet, but continues to play.
The highest amount I would say that I've stayed to it is 200,000.
100,000.
200,000 at a go.
At a go?
Yes.
Wow.
And I
Tell
lost.
us about that.
I lost.
You lost it?
Yes.
Wow.
I lost it at the nick of time. Okay. So on that day, I'm a Man U fan though, so I stayed on my team to win.
Wow.
And that day, Man U was winning. I could remember Man U play Newcastle or so. Man U was winning. And at injury time, I think 90 plus, Newcastle equalized and the match ended 1-1. The money wasn't mine. Several things came to my mind. Like, I was like, I wish I didn't do this. Why did I do this? How can I get this money back? What will I tell the owner?
It got so bad he borrowed a lot of money and spent 90% of it on bets.
Borrowing money to place bets.
You borrowed money to?
Yes, I did.
What was the highest amount you borrowed?
450. 450,000, yes. 90% of it was to place bets. Now, for me to have been able to secure 450,000, I never knew what I wanted to do with it. Over time, I borrowed quite a lot of money, and the day I sat down to, you always be afraid to like put your pen to paper to just write down the figures. But the day I did that, I noticed it's over 1 million, 1 point something million. Yes. Wow. And everything was within 2 years.
2 years?
Yes. Everything was within 2 years. And for all the companies that were able to give me loans, it comes with interest. Then if you default, you have further interest. So the 1 million I mentioned is accrued interest on loans I've defaulted.
Wow.
So I speak with you, I'm still paying back.
Wow.
So it shows the extent, the damage it has caused. So the day I sat down and I put down names of each company I'm owing and the amounts with the interest. So, and individuals that I owe. Then I found out that, hey, this thing has turned to 6 figures. So that's when it comes on me that I realized that this is not fun anymore. It's an issue.
In Nigeria, football betting has a long history that can be traced to colonial times when pool betting was popular, especially among the elderly, retired workers, and the unemployed. Since the 1920s, younger people have taken up betting on the results of football matches, including European football leagues. In the betting shops, you will find different kinds of people in clusters discussing either the Premier League, Champions League, the La Liga, boxing, and all types of sports, with their passion for the game increasing every day, having high hopes of winning the jackpots. There are factors responsible for increased football betting among youths in Nigeria.
It keeps my hope alive. When the government are not trying and I don't have any other way, I don't have any other person to help me. It's only the bet that can help me.
As you can see, the country is very rough, you understand? The government, they're not trying, you understand? So at least helping the youth, So some people cannot steal, like me, I can't steal. So I just do this way to make money for myself.
In the past, people watched sports with keen interest based on loyalty to a particular club. But today, that is no longer the case with many.
Like me now, I'm a driver now. For the past 2 months now, I don't have a car again. I don't have any bus that I'm using to work. But I'm surviving with this because I don't play visual game. I only play the game I will book and bet. Maybe Madrid is playing Osasuna. I bet it Madrid to win. Chelsea is playing Watford. I bet Chelsea to win. I collect like 5 games like that. I put like 500 or 1,000. The game give me something like 13,000 or 8,000. As the game is going, maybe I play 8 games. 6 I've played. They are giving me a crash out like 5,000. I'll just collect the 5,000, crash out. I book another one. Out of that one, I send a little money for my family. That was how I've been coping for the past 2 months now. Because there is no hope. I'm not an addict. I'm not addicted to betting. It's just like I just sat down and I studied and I said, okay, I can make something out of this. Not that maybe if I have a work that I'm doing now, I will not sit down here and say I want to start betting because I'm a driver. I'm on the road now. Maybe it's when I close. And if I go to work Monday to Saturday, is it that night I will now start, I'm tired now, I'll go and relax. But for now, let me just use this one as another avenue to make money.
There are those ones who have become addicted to this behavior. Sam is one of them, and every addict shows some vital signs.
There's an attribute with someone that is addicted to gambling, and that is you always find your way around things, and that involves lying to people close to you, people you know. If you tell them strange things, they will believe you.
When you say that someone has gambling addiction, there are certain things you see in someone that has gambling addiction. Is this, you see that they have this strong compulsive use to this craving to always bet money. And you see them that they neglect other activities that they used to find pleasurable, spending most of their time gambling. They hide the fact that they're gambling from their family members. They feel guilty. They've lost vast sums of money. Sometimes they have to take loans, and they believe that if they keep gambling, they will be able to recover some of the money that they've lost. So those are some of the features you've seen that it affects their career, affects their family.
Addiction is more. It's more like an eye. You have that feeling that you are high on something, so you feel uncomfortable until you place bet.
A report revealed that about 60 million Nigerians between the ages of 18 and 40 are involved in active sports betting. They spend almost 2 billion naira on sports betting daily. And this translates to about 730 billion naira annually. Betting may appear to be a way to make quick money, either as a betting operator or as a gambler, but addiction sets in along the way.
Usually most people, when they start for fun. They start with funds that they can afford to lose. But for some people, it progresses beyond that. And then they start to bet large sums of money. They have, when they can't bet or they are prevented from betting, they start to become very uncomfortable. They spend most of their time engaged in either betting or trying to get money to bet. And they start to suffer harm in terms of their career. They get into debt. They keep having, they find it they're unable to control their betting. When you see those signs, those are signs that the person could possibly have a gambling addiction or sports betting addiction.
Are there consequences for addiction?
Gambling addiction has significant comorbidities with psychiatric conditions. As you might imagine, if you've borrowed a large sum of money and lost it to sports betting, there's a high tendency for you to have clinical depression. It could also progress to having suicidal thoughts and attempted suicide. You could also have post-traumatic stress disorder. You could have sleep problems, sexual dysfunctions. It could predispose to even psychotic breakdowns. So having a gambling addiction predisposes you to having a whole lot of other psychiatric comorbidities.
Sharing my experience now, I am someone that loves sleeping very well. I do have sound sleep, but when this issue become a problem, I couldn't sleep well. Wow. There have been different kind of thoughts. You'd start thinking that life is not worth it. You know, such kind of things, and you start thinking of, oh, how am I going to pay this person? So shame comes in, reproach. Loan agencies started looking for me, calling my numbers. I had to start changing numbers. I started withdrawing from people because when I had the encounter with my family members, I had to change my numbers. Then loan agencies started calling me. I had to start withdrawing So at that point of withdrawing, you want to be alone. Like, it's as if these people don't understand you. So you start withdrawing and That's when the suicidal thoughts start coming in and the lights.
Sam's family felt disappointed after they found out about his sports bet addiction.
At a point, my family gets to know about this. I used to be like a favorite child. I used to be like someone they're looking up to just bring the name of the family, to raise the bar for the family, not to put down the name. But the moment they got to know, I felt like an outcast because I had different kind of things that really put me down. So after the session with them, going back, I wasn't myself.
Is there a way out of addiction?
Since we consider gambling addiction to be medical and mental disorders, there are treatment modalities that are available, and it first starts with you having an assessment. When you are assessed, you're now able to understand the severity of the disorder, and the treatment ranges from simple interventions like reading a brochure, to short interventions, to long-term interventions that involve psychotherapy with a therapist. So there are treatment modalities depending on the severity. You need to talk to a medical professional, and then they'll be able to help you with this disorder.
Since it is difficult to convince many that caution is needed, it is hoped that Sam's experience and many around us are pointers that this craze for quick wealth is at the end of the day counterproductive, including suicide as a result of depression.
My first advice would be to everyone that you should have a high index of suspicion if you are gambling and then you're finding it difficult to control your sports betting. Then you might need to take a step back and stop gambling for a while. You might have difficulty controlling your sports betting. So before it becomes a full-blown disorder, it's better to know that it's possible that you could get addicted and to reduce it. Now, if you do have a problem with sports betting, is affecting your schooling, your work, your marriage, your relationship with people around you, then it's advisable that you get some treatment. You could come to any neuropsychiatric center and have an assessment done where a treatment modality is available. And lastly, you should tell people around you if you're having this problem. Too often we are too stoic in our culture. We tend to hide things. If you're having difficulty, let your friends and family know, and then they will be able to put in place a support system that will be able to help.
For people that place bets, this would be my advice. It's supposed to be fun, yes. You can stake on what you like, and you can have passion for it. You know, people have different kind of hobbies. So, but the moment you notice you're losing sleep over it, the moment you notice it's affecting your health, the moment you notice it's affecting your relationship, because as an addict, and the effect of most of these things is you withdraw from your loved ones, you hurt them, you hurt yourself, your health status, emotion, your mental state, at a point you realize you're losing it. So if at the moment you notice it's getting to that point, you need to speak up, seek help. It's very, very important. In my case, I didn't do that on time. And if you're seeking help also, I would advise to seek help from the right channel. At a point, I had to go to religious leaders to seek help. The earlier you stop, the better it is.
Ìmọ́tótó ló lè ṣẹ́gun àrùn gbogbo. Ìmọ́tótó ló lè ṣẹ́gun àrùn gbogbo.
Cholera is defined as an infectious disease that is caused by ingestion of food and water contaminated with the bacterium Vibrio cholerae. It usually occurs as diarrhea, dehydration, and may lead to death if left untreated. Cholera was first discovered in 1854 by an Italian physician, Philip Pacini, during an outbreak in Florence, Italy. Also, record shows that cholera was detected by Robert Koch, a physician and microbiologist in India in 1883. In Nigeria, since its first appearance in 1972, intermittent outbreaks have been occurring. The later part of 2010 was marked with a widespread in the northern part of Nigeria, spreading to the other parts, and involving approximately 3,000 cases and 781 deaths. Unlike many other infectious diseases, cholera persists as a huge public health problem worldwide, even where there are accessible and effective methods for its prevention and treatment. The main reasons for its persistence are socioeconomic, since cholera thrives in unhygienic conditions and environments with a reputation of already fragile sanitation, especially in overcrowded areas. The major symptoms of cholera are diarrhea, nausea and vomiting, dehydration, muscle cramps, and shock. To prevent being infected with cholera, you should provide safe water, basic sanitation, and maintain adequate hygiene practices. If infected, the first aid treatment to assist the sufferer, if medical professionals are not readily available, is to get oral rehydration solution to replace lost fluids and electrolytes. Without rehydration, approximately half of the people infected with cholera will die. Severe cases need rapid treatments with intravenous fluids and antibiotics, which are to be recommended and administered by medical experts. There is currently an increase of cholera outbreak in Nigeria, and the Lagos State government declared a cholera outbreak on the 9th of June 2024. These suspected cases of cholera have been reported respectively in neighbouring Oyo and Ogun states. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention, NCDC, reported that as of 11th of June 2024, 1,141 suspected cholera cases had been recorded across 30 states in Nigeria, including Bayelsa, Lagos, Abia, Cross River, Delta, and Imo, with some situated further north, Katsina, Nasarawa, and Zamfara states. United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund, UNICEF, says Nigeria must prevent spread in schools. With the intervention of all relevant bodies, individuals also have a relevant role to play. Prevention is better and cheaper than cure. Here are a few prevention tips. Drink and use safe water. Flush or bury poop. Wash and peel raw fruits with clean hands. Also, cook food thoroughly. Thoroughly clean toilets and surfaces contaminated with poop. Remember, health is wealth. Stay safe.
The People's Democratic Party, PDP, on Tuesday said the 64th Independence Day speech of President Bola Tinubu further confirmed the insensitivity of his administration towards the plight and demands by Nigerians. In a statement, PDP spokesman Debo Ologunagba said the president's speech showed no hope in sight under what he termed as the clueless, insensitive and unresponsive APC-led government. He said the failure by Mr. President to listen to Nigeria to reduce the price of fuel, create employment and lift the value of the naira by ending the profligacy in his government and direct resources to jumpstart the ailing productive sector shows that the APC administration is completely disconnected with Nigerians, especially the youths. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke, represented by his SSG, has said that the state is resolved to build a better state where every citizen has access to quality education, infrastructural development, healthcare, and economic opportunities. The governor stressed the importance of having a greater hope for the nation, urging all and sundry to be active participants in rebuilding the common project called Nigeria. Adeleke added that the progress of the nation is inextricably linked to the success and well-being of the citizens. This was the message during an event organized at the Osogbo Stadium in celebration of Nigeria's 64th independence anniversary.
Pride to announce that Osun State, under our administration, will continue to be a shining example of what can be achieved, and my government is highly committed to the welfare and development of its people. My administration has made remarkable strides in short period of almost 2 years. We took over power from the governance of the past. Our state has grown in leaps and bounds, and we have every reason to be proud of our achievements. From the development of our infrastructure to the empowerment of our youth, from the preservation of our rich cultural heritage to the promotion of peace and security. Osun State has continued to evolve, becoming a model for other states of the Federation. We have seen progress in the education sector with renovation of schools across the states, healthcare with complete renovation of 332 primary health centers, and full stocking of drugs, infrastructure on roads across the state, and modern flyovers across our urban city in the state, and economic development, public service reform, and timely payment of monthly salary with payment of palliative allowance to all civil servants to ameliorate the suffering of workers from fuel subsidy removal. As welfare of the civil servants is one of our administration priorities, our cultural heritage remains a source of pride, and our people continue to excel in various fields.
Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji has expressed satisfaction with giant strides made by the state since it was created as a political entity 28 years ago. Addressing the people of the state in a broadcast to mark the 28th anniversary of the creation of Ekiti State and the 64th anniversary of the nation's independence, Governor Oyebanji hailed President Bola Tinubu for his unflinching support for Ekiti development since coming to power on 29th of May 2023. Governor Oyebanji said Ekiti is grateful for President Tinubu's numerous interventions and approval of critical federal infrastructure in the state. Some Nigerians also spoke on the independence celebration. Meanwhile, some residents of Ekiti State commend the president on the youth confab, while others said Nigeria politics should or need to be adjusted.
We are very proud to say Ekiti is a frontliner in education, life expectancy, access to quality healthcare services, physical infrastructure development, access to water, peaceful coexistence, ease of doing business, gender equality, social inclusion, among others. Gradually and assuredly, it is building a formidable profile of a progressive and development-oriented state that is poised for prosperity for all.
This is a speech of the president where he said they will assemble youths across the country for a confab. to come and see, dialogue, and discuss the way forward in this country. It's better than protest, better than agitating for something that is not even worthy of doing so. A lot of people will lose their life, will go into protest, but whatever you have in mind, you want him to do. All of us should come together. Let us put our brains together and address issue. I know he's a listening president.
They were begging our people to travel then. When you have your ID card, what you are using in your working place is enough for you as a passport to travel out of this country. Because our money as at then was okay. But today, thousands of our youths are dying on the desert because this place is no more okay for them. They were looking for green pasture. Our democracy has led to what you call neo-colonialism.
Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has declared that his administration will not surrender to barefaced blackmail while committing to consolidating on the gains made in ensuring the peace, advancing good governance, delivering more critical projects and sustaining the increase in the internally generated revenue IGR of the state. The governor also commended President Bola Tinubu for his bold, dynamic and pragmatic economic reforms targeted at correcting the structural deformities in the past or of the past and ushering Nigeria into a new vista of sustainable economic growth and prosperity. Governor Fubara spoke during the 64th Nigerian Independence Day anniversary parade at the Government House Arcade in Port Harcourt. He urged Nigerians to be thankful that God has endowed them with everything required to build a great nation where no one should ever be oppressed and where all should live in peace and plenty.
The vision of our founding fathers at independence was to build a united, secured nation anchored on the value of brotherhood, democracy, justice, and equality of all people, tribe, and nation. However, Nigeria still total amidst diverse challenges, including widespread human insecurity. After 64 years of self-rule, indeed, the prevailing economic hardship has made life more difficult for most Nigerians.
Governor Fubara assured that his administration will work assiduously to ensure the safety and security of lives and property while guaranteeing equal social and economic opportunities for all residents of Rivers State.
Despite the economic hardship and the social ill bedeviling our nation and striving its progress, we still have good reason to celebrate and be grateful to God as a nation and people. Let us also commit ourselves to work hard, to work hand in hand with the federal government to tackle the economic, social, and political challenges, including judicial terrorism, nepotism, corruption, and abuse of power that have diminished our democracy, staved our growth, and caused untold hardship to our people. Our faith and strength are in God, who will enable us continue to promote, protect, and defend the political and social economic interests of our dear state at all costs. I assure you that we will never surrender to barefaced lies and blackmail from anyone, no matter how powerful he may be, but remain focused and rededicated to the interests of our nation.
Niger State Emergency Management Agency in SEMA has confirmed a report that a boat conveying no fewer than 300 passengers capsized on River Niger upstream Jebba Dam at Bajibo community in Mokwa local government area. It stated that so far about 150 travelers have been rescued, while efforts are on to rescue the remaining persons. The agency, in a statement signed by the Director General Abdullahi Baba Ara, said the boat was sailing from Mundi community with a population of almost 300 passengers. He explained that the travelers were mostly women and children for the Maulid celebration at Bajibo. The DG disclosed that currently NSEMA is directing and monitoring search and rescue operations in collaboration with the State Ministry of Transport, Mokwa Local Government Emergency Committee, Brave Local Divers, and other community leaders. Suspected herdsmen on Tuesday killed 2 soldiers and 7 villagers, including the village head of Eguma village in Aguta local government of Benue State. A former lawmaker who represented the local government at the Benue State House of Assembly between 2011 and 2019, Audu Sule, in a telephone call with our correspondent in Benue, said a suspected herdsman came into Eguma village at 3 p.m. and started killing people. According to Sule, military personnel who are stationed at his village in Ogwele, a few meters away, responded to the distress call from Eguma village, but 2 of the soldiers were killed by the suspected herdsmen, along with Eguma village head and 6 others, bringing the casualty figure to 9. Sule noted that the attack was the 4th on Eguma and Ogwole villages in Agatu local government area in the last month, lamenting the security threats his people faced daily. He notes that the military intervention led to a gun battle with the suspected herdsmen who fled after 9 persons, including 2 soldiers, were killed. When contacted, a police spokesperson in the state, Suwese Anene, said the command was yet to receive any information on the killing or any shared intelligence with the military on the Agatu attacks. Amidst unresolved insecurity challenges in the country, a new report has examined the intricate complexities of the crisis based on its roots and called for a problem-specific or region-specific approach beyond the current military approach. Titled Unraveling Nigeria's Insecurity Crisis, the urgent need for a last initiative of the Economic Development Communication Lagos and the International Organization for Peace Building and Social Justice proposed other strategies to build a more secure and lasting society. In the report's introduction, signed by Executive Vice President Ogie Ogbogbe, the Chief Executive Officer, PSJ UK, Ayo Adedoyin, noted that while insecurity crisis may be perceived as a general and pervasive issue in the country, its underlying essence, nature, character, and identity differ significantly from one region to the other. While noting that the military approach is insufficient and counterproductive, the report revealed that the strategies have stretched the military capabilities, forcing them to engage insurgents of varying types in 30 of Nigeria's 36 states. Recommendations of the report included government acknowledgement and ownership, comprehensive and integrated approach, advanced technological solutions, strengthening security and governance, and community state policing initiatives, among others. From other parts of Africa, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and his Moroccan counterpart Nasser Bourita met in Washington on Tuesday amid rising tension in the Middle East. The 2 leaders exchanged views on developments in North Africa and the Middle East. Blinken told reporters that the U.S. would keep working on de-escalating the conflict in the region. Ties between Washington and Rabat have improved significantly since the United States supported Morocco's claim over Western Sahara in December of 2020. The recognition was slammed by Western Sahara's Polisario's Front and Algeria. In exchange, Morocco agreed to normalize relations with Israel. Outside Africa, the United Nations UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has been declared a persona non grata and banned from entering Israel following the latest attacks from Iran. Israel's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Israel Katz, made the declaration over Guterres' silence on Iran's latest attack on Israel. On Tuesday, Iran launched over 180 ballistic missiles into Israel. The Israeli military said it received no reports of injuries from the Iranian missile attacks. However, posting on X, Katz wrote that he had declared UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres persona non grata in Israel and banned him from entering the country. Meanwhile, Iran's Armed Forces Chief of Staff on Tuesday said his country was prepared to repeat its attacks if Israel is not contained by the US and Europe. Iran launched at least 180 missiles into Israel, the latest in a series of escalating attacks in a year-long conflict between Israel and Iran and its Arab allies. In Lebanon, explosions were heard and fire and smoke visible along the Beirut skyline on Wednesday morning in what the Israeli military claimed was a strike on Hezbollah targets. Earlier, residents in some areas of the southern suburbs of the Lebanese capital were warned to evacuate their homes. In business news, the flag carrier of the United Arab Emirates UAE resumed flight operations to Nigeria on Tuesday, October 1, 2024. The airline's flight landed at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, NMIA, in Lagos on Tuesday afternoon as Nigerians celebrate 64 years of independence from British colonial rule. The over 8-hour flight touched down at the airport at 3:32 p.m. according to air traffic controllers. Emirates Airlines suspended its Dubai-Lagos flights in November 2022 over its inability to repatriate trapped funds in Nigeria in the heat of the diplomatic fireworks between the two countries. However, in September 2023, President Bola Tinubu met with UAE President Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan in Abu Dhabi to smoothen the rough edges in the diplomatic relations between the two countries. Subsequently, in May 2024, Emirates Airlines said its daily Lagos-Dubai flights would resume from October 1, 2024. 2 months later, the federal government of Nigeria reached an agreement with the UAE to allow Nigerian passport holders obtain visas for travel to the Arab nation. In entertainment news, legendary American actor John Amos has died at the age of 84. According to his son, Casey Amos died of natural causes in Los Angeles. Best known for his role as James Evans Sr. on the hit 1970s sitcom Good Times, Amos also appeared in numerous other television shows and films, including The Mary Tyler Moore Show, Roots, and The West Wing. His legacy will live on in his outstanding works. And finally, sports news. To demonstrate his loyalty to Nigeria and commitment to the nation's ideals, Ayagwa Success Fatah, a final-year student at the Air Force Institute of Technology, AFIT, recently completed a 64-kilometer run. The run commemorated Nigeria's 64 years of independence, with each kilometer representing a year. According to Ayagwa, the run was intended to celebrate Nigeria's anniversary. He decided to undertake the long-distance challenge, believing that completing it within the 5-hour event time frame would prove that all things are possible if we put our minds to actualizing them. Ayagwa expressed gratitude to the AFIT Commandant, AVM S.L. Rabe, for his outstanding leadership and support, which he credited for the continuous success of AFIT students in national competitions. Ayagwa noted that AFIT's mix of military and civilian students provides an opportunity for students to cultivate military discipline and commitment while maintaining their civilian identities. Ayagwa urged citizens to focus on what they can contribute to their country rather than always expecting the reverse. And that's the news update. For more stories, please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. You can also view us on limex.tv and Glow TV apps anywhere in the world. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. Thank you for being there.
I will take you through this amazingness today.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Women are shattering glass ceilings around the globe, making indelible marks across sectors, and the Nigerian banking industry is not left out, as Adora Umeoji joins the list of female chief executive officers (CEO) in the sector. In this feature, we bring you the profile of female chief executives of banks in the country. Adora Umeoji, Umeoji has over 30 years of experience in banking, including 26 years at Zenith Bank. Before Umeoji was appointed GCEO designate, she held the position of Deputy Managing Director of Zenith Bank from October 2016. She obtained a bachelor's degree in sociology from the University of Jos, a bachelor's degree in accounting, and a first-class honors in law from Bayes University, Abuja. Umeoji is also a graduate of the University of Salford, United Kingdom, where she bagged a Master of Laws degree. She also obtained a Master's in Business Administration (MBA) from the University of Calabar and a doctorate in Business Administration from Apollos University, USA. Bolaji Agbede. Bolaji Agbede, acting Group CEO of Access Holdings, took over on February 13 following the death of Herbert Wigwe, the company's former GCEO. Agbede has worked in banking operations, customer relationship management, and human resources management departments for over 27 years. Beginning her career in 1992 as an executive trainee, she worked her way up to manager in 2001 at Guarantee Trust Bank, where she also held various positions such as vault custodian and relationship manager. She subsequently served as CEO of JKG Limited, a business consulting firm, in 2003. Agbede joined Access Bank in 2003 and as an assistant general manager and was responsible for managing the bank's portfolio of chemical trading companies. She also headed the bank's human resources department between 2010 and 2022 and was appointed the company's founding executive director, business support, in 2022. Agbede holds a bachelor's degree in mathematics and statistics from the University of Lagos, 1990, and subsequently obtained a Master of Business Administration degree from Cranfield University in 2002. Miriam Olusonya. Miriam Olusonya is the MD of Guarantee Trust Bank Nigeria Limited, a subsidiary of Guarantee Trust Holding Company, GTCO PLC, a position she assumed in July 2021. After beginning her career at the bank in 1998 as an executive trainee, Olusonya advanced through the ranks and now possesses over 25 years of experience in a variety of banking-related fields, including corporate finance, investment banking, financial markets, asset and liability management, investor relations, and transaction services. Before her appointment as the bank's MD, she was appointed Executive Director in 2018 and held positions as the group's treasurer and head of its wholesale banking division. Olusonya currently serves as a non-executive director on the board of GT Bank Gambia Limited. She is also a non-executive director of the Nigerian Interbank Settlement System (NIBSS) and the Shared Agent Network Expansion Facilities (SANEF). She graduated from the University of Ibadan, Nigeria, with a bachelor's degree in pharmacy (B.Pharm) and the University of Liverpool, UK, with a master's degree in business administration, finance and accounting. Nneka Onyali-Ikpe. Nneka Onyali-Ikpe took office as MD CEO of Fidelity Bank on January 1, 2021, becoming the first female MD CEO in the bank's history. Before the appointment, she was Executive Director, the Southwest Region, overseeing the bank's business in the region's 6 states from January 2015 to December 2020. She has professional experience of over 30 years across various banks, having commenced her career in 1986. Onyali-Ikpe has worked at Standard Chartered Bank PLC, Zenith Bank PLC, and Citizens International Bank Limited, where she held several management positions in legal, treasury, investment banking, retail commercial banking, and corporate banking. Onyali-Ikpe holds Bachelor's of Law (LLB) and Master's of Laws (LLM) degrees from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, and King's College London, respectively. Yemisi Edun. Yemisi Edun is MD and CEO of First City Monument Bank, the first woman to ever hold the position at the organization. She assumed the position in July 2021 following an allegation of marital infidelity against Adam Nuhu, the former FCMB MD. Edun started her career in 1987 as a corporate finance specialist with Akintola Williams Deloitte, a member firm of Deloitte Touche Tohmatsu. Thereafter, Edun joined FCMB in 2000 as the divisional head of internal audit and control before assuming the role of Chief Financial Officer, CFO, of the bank in 2015. Edun holds a bachelor's degree in chemistry from the University of Ife, Nigeria, and a master's degree in international accounting and finance from the University of Liverpool, UK. Tomi Somefun. Tomi Somefun was appointed MD CEO of Unity Bank PLC in August 2015. Prior to her appointment, she served as the executive director overseeing the Lagos and Southwest Business Directorates and the Treasury Department of the bank. She has 35 years of experience in the private sector, 26 of which are in the banking industry. From 1982 to 1986, she worked as a senior audit assistant for KPMG, which was the beginning of her nearly 40-year journey to become the formidable banker she is today. After working for a few more years as a senior auditor at Arthur Andersen, she left in 1989 to become an associate at Ventures and Trusts Limited. Veering into the banking sector, she began working with Credit Bank Limited before joining UBA Group, where she served as the MD CEO of two significant UBA subsidiaries, including UBA Pensions Custodian, a startup company which was founded with her as the pioneer MD. She graduated from Obafemi Awolowo University in 1981 with a Bachelor of Education in English Language. Yetunde Oni. Yetunde Oni in January 2024 was appointed by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, as the MD CEO of Union Bank of Nigeria. Until her appointment with the bank, Oni was a financial services leader with a successful career spanning over 30 years, holding senior positions in international and local banks and focusing on emerging markets. Before she made it to the top of the financial institution, Oni had an 11-year stint at EcoBank Transnational Incorporated as a relationship manager from 1994 to 2005. In September 2014, Oni held the position of Pioneer Head of Commercial Clients at Standard Chartered Bank Nigeria Limited, before becoming the lender's MD and Country Head of Commercial Banking in West Africa in 2017. In January 2021, Oni achieved a significant milestone by becoming the first female MD CEO of Standard Chartered Bank in Sierra Leone. Oni is a University of Ibadan graduate with a bachelor's degree in economics and has an MBA from Bangor University, Wales. Ireti Samuel Ogbu. Ireti Samuel Ogbu, appointed in September 2020, doubles as the CEO of Citibank Nigeria and Citibank's country officer for Nigeria and Ghana. Before appointed CEO of Citibank Nigeria, Samuel Ogbu was the Europe, Middle East and Africa EMEA head, Payments and Receivables Treasury and Trade Solutions (TTS) under Citi's Institutional Clients Group (ICG), based in London, UK. She has also served as a non-executive director on the board of Citibank Nigeria Limited. For the past 32 years, Samuel Ogbu has held various roles across Citibank's businesses in the UK, Nigeria, and South Africa, having worked in each of the countries twice. Samuel Ogbu obtained a bachelor's degree in accounting and finance from Middlesex University, UK, and has an MBA from the University of Bradford, UK. Kafilat Araoye. Kafilat Araoye was appointed in 2020 as the MD CEO of Lotus Bank. She started her career in 1988 at National Oil and Chemicals Marketing Company PLC, now Cornell Nigeria PLC, and moved in 1990 to GT Bank as the pioneer head of HR. Her last position at the firm was General Manager and Group Head, Human Resource Group, a position she exited in 2015. Subsequently, Araoye moved to XYZ Outsourcing and Management Consulting Limited. From 2015 to 2020, Araoye holds a first degree in history from the Obafemi Awolowo University and a master's degree in industrial relations and personnel management from the University of Lagos, graduating as the best student in her class.
As the global economy shifted towards small businesses, governments worldwide have recognized the critical role of entrepreneurs and their ventures in driving economic growth, job creation, and social stability. Now, to ensure the continued success and prosperity of these small businesses, governments must take a proactive approach in developing entrepreneurship policies and programs. Now, coming up on the show, we will explore the multifaceted ways in which governments are promoting entrepreneurship development. On one hand, government must provide an enabling environment for businesses to start and grow through investment in infrastructure, access to financing, and a favorable regulatory framework. On the other hand, government also play a direct role in entrepreneurship development by offering targeted programs and initiatives that support entrepreneurs. As Nigeria celebrates its 64th year of independence, we will examine how the country has been consolidating the successes of its entrepreneurs since gaining independence. Join us as we delve into this on Business Insight and Plus TV Africa. I'm your host, Justin Akadonye. Now, President Bola Tinubu has reiterated his administration's commitment to fostering a business-friendly environment that embraces free enterprise, free entry, and free exit for investment. At the same time, he emphasized the importance of maintaining the sanctity and efficacy of regulatory processes. In his Independence Day address, the president highlighted that this guiding principle has shaped the divestment transactions in the upstream petroleum sector, where the administration is determined to drive positive change. He hinted that the ExxonMobil Seplat divestment, which has been conducted or concluded rather by the industry regulator NUPRC in accordance with the Petroleum Industry Act, is poised to receive ministerial approval in coming days. By prioritizing both economic freedom and regulatory oversight, President Tinubu's administration aims to strike a balance that attracts investment while ensuring a well-regulated and transparent business environment.
This principle guides the divestment transaction in our upstream sector, where we are committed to changing the fortune positively. As such, ExxonMobil Seplat divestment will receive ministerial approval in a matter of days, having been concluded by the regulator, NUPRC, in line with the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA. This was done in the same manner as other qualified divestment approved in the sector. The move will create vibrancy and increase oil and gas production positively, impacting our economy. The more disciplined approach adopted by the central bank to monetary policy management has ensured stability and predictability in our foreign exchange market. We inherited a reserve of over 33 billion 16 months ago. Since then, we have paid back the inherited forex backlog of 7 billion. We have cleared the ways and means debt of over 30 trillion naira. We have reduced the debt service ratio from 97% to 68%. Despite all this, we have managed to keep our foreign reserve at 37 billion. We continue to meet all our obligations and pay our bills. We are moving ahead with our fiscal policy reforms. We stimulate our productive capacity and create more jobs and prosperity.
All right, that was the president in his earlier address to the nation this morning, talking about how far his administration has fared economically. Moving on now, we'll look into the discussion for this morning. Entrepreneurship offers numerous benefits for society. It creates job opportunities, fosters innovation and the development of new products and services that improve quality of life and diversifies the economy, making it more resilient to shocks. My guest, engineer Nnamdi Felix, Onachukwu is a seasoned entrepreneur with over 22 years of experience in telecommunications, agriculture, real estate, and downstream oil and gas industry. He holds a bachelor's in electronics engineering from the University of Nigeria, Nsukka, an OMP from the Lagos Business School, an MBA from the University of South Wales, and MPhil from UCAM, Spain, and is currently pursuing a doctorate in business administration at Universidad Católica de Murcia in Spain. As a business coach, public speaker, and founder of DAX Group, he is dedicated to promoting business growth and development. He joins me now as we delve into consolidating successes of Nigerian entrepreneurs to ways forward since independence. Many thanks for joining me, Mr. Onachukwu, Engineer Onachukwu.
Thank you very much, Justin. Yeah. Happy Independence, Nigeria.
Yes, happy Independence.
Thank you for bringing me to Business Insights.
Okay, let's talk about entrepreneurship development in Nigeria, because right now, you will agree with me that medium, small, and micro businesses are the ones really driving the economy, and they actually employing a whole lot of labor in the country, despite the fact that, unemployment is on the rise in the country. So far, so good. How would you say we have come in terms of entrepreneurship development in Nigeria? Let's start from there.
Thank you very much. Well, your question is spot on. Looking at Nigeria 64 and how far entrepreneurship development has fared in Nigeria, I would say that dating back in the 50s, entrepreneurs have so helped this economy in terms of GDP growth. You remember the likes of experts like Salim Sojuku, who was a great entrepreneur in the 50s. We are even told that at some point the Queen had to use his Rolls Royce when he visited Nigeria. And going forward, post-independence, we've heard of great entrepreneurs like Bushuda Abiola of Concord Press. We've heard about Adebayo, we heard about Ekemedi Chukwu, we heard about so many of them entrepreneurs who have helped Nigeria in so many ways. What I can't talk about is how the sustainability has been. But if you look at it from every perspective, entrepreneurs have always remained the drivers of this economy. And in every free market economy, it's entrepreneurs that drive the economy. The government don't have any business in business. Thank God for Nigeria, at some point in the 90s, they privatized and brought in some entrepreneurs. That one was more with a lot of political interests, and those in the political position took over some of these establishments that they do very well. But ever since then, entrepreneurs have been the biggest employers of labor in Nigeria. And I want to tell you that until we have more entrepreneurs, we need more, because the rate of unemployment in Nigeria is as a result of deficiency and the producing more entrepreneurs to take over. I may talk about maybe the economic environment, how you face entrepreneurs. However, we still need entrepreneurs for this unemployment and reduction in poverty in our nation. So I will say that so far so good. Even what Mr. President said today in his speech, saying that the foreign reserve is coming up and a number of things are happening around the economy. That's what every entrepreneur wants to hear, because it's been a lot of challenge for some months now, or we say some years now, for entrepreneurs, especially the instability in the foreign exchange in the market. So that affects entrepreneurs from decision making, and that's why we see a lot of things jumping up and down. But we need to do more to retain these entrepreneurs, encourage them to keep employing, to keep employing people, and also bring more entrepreneurs into the space. We need to bring future entrepreneurs that will take over from the one that is existing. So that's what much I will say. That after 64 years, if you look at the movement, you see that there were better entrepreneurs than you have today, because a lot of our good brains are being trained and they are running away, and most people don't believe. And companies are even pulling out of Nigeria. So the environment is a big hostile, but the way that we do in Nigeria are not running anywhere.
Okay, fine. It's good. In your presentation, you talked about businesses that have been on around for a very long time. Some names come to mind right now. If we talk about entrepreneurship, that they started small, they became family businesses, and right now they are like household names, and they have actually grown up the ranks and the ladders. You can talk about Isiaku Rabi, you talk about the Dangotes, the Dantata, the Emzors of this world. But over time, in the past 64 years, the nation has been plagued with issues of not just inflation, interest rate, and of course, even the Forex dilemma right now. So how would you say that entrepreneurs have been able to weather the storm over the years, in as much as some are complaining about the macroeconomic issues, but then some are still, moving on strong?
Well, if you say moving on strong, I may disagree, because for entrepreneurs in Nigeria, there's a lot of struggle, a lot of issues. When you compare what we used to be, in terms of the money, the value of naira, or the parity, against other foreign currencies, you see that Nigerian entrepreneurs becoming poorer. You can only be a big man in Nigeria when you count in millions. Once you move out of Nigeria, you discover that a lot has happened to that money, so you don't have the value anymore. So this has to be addressed by the government. Talking about a number of companies, started off with one man, and that's grown to become conglomerates. We have few of them in Nigeria. If you compare Nigeria with other developed nations of the world, you see here about Ford Motors, you see here about Hewlett Packard, you see here about so many companies that started and today that grew to be the world recognized conglomerate. So Nigeria has to do more to support her own in terms of, look at what is happening with the exchange rate. Some people who obtain some facility with the bank, all of a sudden they change the interest rate by many 200 basic points, and counting. I can imagine how some of them are battling to return the money, and some who I know we are all victims of that, who obtain letter of credit after selling in naira. You go back to your bank and the bank say you should pay the differential. And the differential is too much. Jumping from 750 to 1,600. It takes out an entrepreneur, but yet we are surviving because we don't have any other country than Nigeria. And if all the entrepreneurs should close shop, there will be chaos in the country. They are the employers of labor. They are the ones that are absorbing the shock. They are the ones that is still paying the youth, because they are still offering them some job opportunities. So entrepreneurship is very important in our nation, and going forward, we need to encourage entrepreneurs. And for me, I think Nigeria need to look at the bigger picture and maybe what I call mid to long-term plan, not just what is happening today, like the palliatives. If you give the people the little money, they will squander it and move away. But entrepreneurship takes a lot. You need to start prepping the person that will become a future entrepreneur from cradle, see how to incubate them and bring them to take over from our elders who used to go out of being to extinction, because nobody lives forever. So you need to now, Nigeria need to look at it from that perspective of what do we do and give plan B to Nigerians, and give plan B to a young Nigerian by beginning now to inculcate in that child the mindset, what it takes to be an entrepreneur, and inculcating that child to grow with that mindset. And when the child grows with that mindset, even after going to school and coming out of school and there is no job, that child can set up a business. That's what I did when I went to university. I came out and I set up a business. After 4 years, I had employed over 250 Nigerians off the street. So think about when we have more entrepreneurs who have developed that mindset. But it started because my mom started training me when I was 11, and exposing me to entrepreneurship, going to her stores and the rest. So we need today to change our school system. We need to change our curriculum. People pride themselves when they say, we teach British curriculum, American curriculum. That is not the same thing with Nigeria. We need functional education now. And what we need today is to catch these children young and train and bring the best out of them, their talent, and you will bring out the skills, teach them new skills, create hubs, mentor them, bring them to become entrepreneurs that will drive this economy. I'm just coming out from a summit in Lynchburg, Virginia. I'm actually on transit. I'm just in Frankfurt, going back to Lagos. Now, in that, I was listening to one of the analysts, a former president of World Bank, who talked about what is happening in Africa. That Africa don't need more donors. What we need is more nation builders. And who are these nation builders, if not entrepreneurs? We need to encourage entrepreneurship, education across board, from primary school to secondary. That's what we're advocating. And I hope that Nigeria 64 will consider it something to do now.
All right, well said. It's even very interesting, the story that you have shared about yourself and how you started young, because a school of thought believes that the Nigerian education system only prepares graduates to look for white-collar jobs after spending like 4 or 5 years, as the case may be, in the higher institution. But what more can we do in terms of maybe curriculum? Because I remember when I was in the university, having studied accounting, it was just for a semester that they taught us entrepreneurship development, and basically it was more of theoretical, and we did not do more practical. So in terms of that, what more can be done in terms of the educational system, maybe the private sector and even the government? What more can they do, to drive this, message, this narrative of entrepreneurship development?
Well, thank you very much for that question. As you may know, I'm sure you didn't look at my profile very well. You see that we've been advocating for entrepreneurship education. Starting from primary for basic education to junior secondary. I took it as my thesis, a research object. And having researched it, I found out that a child can learn something when he's young. And if that child is well groomed, the child will grow with it. Come to think of it, the best professionals in sports and in music started when they were 6 and 5 or 7. So if we want great entrepreneurs to take over Nigerian economic space, we need to bring them at primary school level, and this from primary 4. Begin now to put in that child, they train that child to develop the mindset, begin to train that child to be innovative, to be creative, begin to train that child differently. By the time the child goes to secondary school, even if the child stops at JSS 3, that child would have learned craft, that child would have learned some things to do like painting, something like tiling and the rest of things. Now, after teaching that child these vocational studies, you now wrap it with entrepreneurship, and that child goes with that entrepreneurship mindset. This child will take the world. They go into agriculture, they go into also, the people we talked about, in the 60s, who were great entrepreneurs, they were in agriculture, they were exporting a lot of agri products. And today, we have so many people who are looking for white-collar jobs, and we have a lot of land lying, so nobody is cultivated. We need entrepreneurs to take over the space. We need more entrepreneurs. Now, what I'm thinking is that we go change our curriculum, make it more functional, bring in things like entrepreneurship education, bring in like skill acquisition program, wrap it